So she says, I started to watch the first recorded class and I wept for 20 minutes. And now I've just cried seamlessly for the last 2 classes that I've watched in a row. This work is so powerful, and it's everything I need to hear right now and everything I'm questioning. I want you to know that I went from gratitude for all the beautiful and amazing things in the first meditations, and I went into letting the really hard emotions arise. And I even went into a violent visual rage where I was slaying and stabbing people who have made me feel like a victim and who have caused so much pain and rage within me. And I just let it happen. I let it roll out like I have not truthfully been able to in a long time without feeling guilty or sick about my feelings. Thank you for this opportunity to thank the divine and Kali for all of this physical pain and rage and horrible circumstances of loss and pain on so many levels that I've had for over a decade. I'm sure my dogs think that I'm a nutcase because they wrapped around me for the entire 2 classes while all these emotions poured out. So, that's it. That's it. And I know that for some people, maybe if you're like a triple Pisces or you have a really sensitive chart, you might be like, whoa, what do you mean somebody's out there, stabbing people in their psyche? And I'm like, look, I'm really, really practical. Better that this gets acknowledged and released on the inner plane than destroy your body or harm somebody else. And, that's why when we were talking about this in the last class, and I was saying, break dishes, break things. I think in one of the books, I talk about this woman that I know who she'd grown up in England, and she was never allowed to get mad. Not that that's everyone in England, but she was truly never allowed to get mad. And when she discovered some of this work, she went and she got all of these stuffed animals at a bargain bin, and she just started to cut their heads off with her scissors and pull all the stuffing out. And she eventually just collapsed into, laughter for hours because she had never been allowed to get mad from the time she was very little, and she had experienced a lot of horrible things. So, to me, there's something in this that is enormously, enormously healing. And the irony of it is, it's not the fear. The fear is, oh, if you feel it, it's going to take over. You're just going to go absolutely mad and blah, blah, blah. In fact, when it's thanked and allowed, over time, it's just integrated into the psyche. It's no longer, the bad one who's hidden away. You have to say a moment of astrology here, which is that this asteroid goddess Eris that I mentioned in the last call, she's very strong right now, Eris. Somebody wrote me in and they're like, are you talking about Eris, like Heiress? It's like, no, Eris. She's the goddess of discord, but she's also that receptacle of the shadow. And she's like the one that wasn't invited to the party. Maybe I was feeling Eris, right? When I was looking at that Costa Rica thing on Instagram, and I was like, well, maybe that was that part of my own psyche. It was like, well, why wasn't I invited? I should be there. Yeah. You're supposed to be at the car wash, Tosha. So in any case, Eris is very active right now, super active. And part of what you're doing is you're taking the uninvited guest, that anger, that jealousy, that resentment, that grief, that fear, the uninvited guest, and you're saying, hey, pull up a chair. We've got some food for you. So thank you for that letter. Fabulous. Now I want to get to this one too, because it's pretty wonderful. This is an important point that she makes here. She said, I listened to the recording of the second class and something really different happened to me today and I wanted to share it. My default emotion when we do these meditations is almost always anger, or to be honest, rage. Sometimes I'm so enraged, it just exhausts me. Now, it's not like I bottle it up. I've written it out, I've meditated on it, I've screamed in my car a lot. But it seems no sooner I do that than the cup fills again. Now, today, when we were doing this, all of a sudden I could feel inside, is anger your only response? Is that really all you can do with what's happening? What if there was something else that you could choose? Now, this is to me really important because she's not trying to bottle the anger up or saying it's bad. She's having this kind of compassionate voice on the inside arise and say, wait a minute, maybe this anger is just a habit. It's a loop that you're stuck in. So she says, and then I remembered that the person I got my anger from was my father, and his anger just scared us all. And truly, it didn't protect him. It just made him isolated and sad. So now I really am sort of stunned at the thought that my anger might be a habit and that I actually could choose something else, another way to be. She feels like this message was really coming from her own inner child. So, you know, again, another thing I'm putting on the table here, not to say, don't, you know, get into the anger, get into all this. This isn't to push that away, but to also notice the other side of the paradox, that sometimes if a certain emotion has become really calcified, like that's a good example of the calcification. Something has become very stuck as an identification. It's good to do the thank you stuff. It's good to be expressing it. But then also at a certain point, you actually can turn to it and you can say, oh, that's enough for now. That's enough. And it's this place where you're not spiritual bypassing. You've felt it plenty. And you also have that opportunity. It's almost from the inner divine warrior to be able to say, okay, let's bring something else in here. You even can feel like when you get to her letter, that could be that a lot of the anger that she's carrying isn't even her own. It's her dad's. So, you know, we do a lot of that kind of work in the forum as well. If you feel like that's your issue, you could also join us over there because we deconstruct more of that and take cords off and do various things so that you're not carrying other people's emotions.